right, good morning, good morning, good morning. What's going on? All right, let me get these tweets out. Send now. Perfect announcements. Send now. Perfect. Let's take a look at, I believe jobs report numbers came out, so we're going to take a look here. Let's see. Jobs report numbers. Where's this at? So the forecast was 215. Looks like it came in at 229. All right. Give me, let's see. Good morning, Daniel, good morning, Marjan, good morning, Rayhan, good morning, A.L. Kaizi, good morning, Real, good morning, Dave, good morning, Angel, good morning. All right, guys, so we usually wait till around 8:35, then we get things kind of popping here, and we should get going. All right, let's wait for everyone to kind of tune in. We'll wait till 8:35 and we'll get going here. Good morning, buenos dias, man. What's going on, little Johnny? Mr. Bruno, Nancy, good morning, good morning. All right, all right, all right. Let's get this thing going here. Sky, good morning. Digging the hat. Yep, the hair's a mess, so decided to wear a hat today. Cajun, good morning. Justin, good morning. Legit Movers, Chicago. What's going on? Good morning. Ion, good morning, my man. How you doing? Don, good morning. Foolish Snowboarder, good morning. What's going on? I almost missed those two. All right, guys. Trade.x, good evening from India. Wow. Good morning, or good evening. All right, guys. Since everyone's here, let's go ahead and smash that like button. There's about 44 of you here. So let's smash that like button, get those likes up. YouTube does appreciate it, as do I. Joel Hernandez, good morning. Nancy, everyone smash that like button. Yes, 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 yes. All right, so the tweet is out here. We got the Discord people slowly pulling in here. And let's get this thing kind of popping off here shortly. Wait about 2 more minutes. John Martin, what's going on, man? Good morning. All right, all right. Gonna hang tight a little bit here. Yeah, the jobless claims came in at 229. So I haven't seen a reaction here in the market with that news coming out just yet. So we'll hang tight a little bit. Thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. Now I used to hear it right. No problem. It's probably because I have a Middle Eastern background. Mikkel, good afternoon from Europe. TradeX coming in with the S&P 500 supports, please. We'll talk about that shortly. Hang tight. We'll go through all the levels and everything else here in a brief second. Evan's still on his cardio run. Maybe he got lost. Shah, good morning. All right, all right. Got about a minute here, a little bit less, 45 seconds, and I'll jump right in. We'll start with the SPY and the Q levels. Then we'll dive into some of the free alerts, and then I'll take some questions that you guys may have about your tickers. Remember, if you're going to ask me a question about a ticker, make sure you tell me whether you're trying to day trade it, swing trade it, and are you looking to trade it on the long side or the short side, aka puts, and so forth. All right. So we're going to hang tight a little bit here, about 10 more seconds, and I'll dive right in. Again, before we get started, please go ahead and smash that like button. Simon, good morning from Toronto. Perfect. So it's 8:35. Let's jump in here. We're gonna jump in with the SPY and let's get this thing really started. I mean, we had that double bottom we've talked about. If you guys have been here, we literally every week we go through this and we kind of stair step with the plans and so forth every day. But here, you know, we saw that consolidation, and what happened when we broke down on increasing volume? We continued to accelerate to the downside. We found some support here at 372, and we kind of put in another doji here. This little rounding bottom was a good look, and yesterday after the FOMC minutes, I'm going to dive into the 5-minute chart here, or let's just dive into the 15-minute chart. Yesterday after the FOMC minute, we shot up here, rejected, came back up. Now if we closed above these levels here, it would have been ideal for us to get into this gap fill up here, right? So this gap fill really from this day's, you know, gap down had room to kind of see a push back into this 389 area, but we can see we rejected this 383 and we came right back down. So with that rejection brought in a lot of I guess people who shook out of their positions. They didn't see the strength to come back into get that gap fill, and nonetheless we had some selling pressure in the futures, and we're now back below this 372 level. Okay, so going into today, that's going to be the level that I'm going to be paying attention to. I'm going to put in all my levels here and you'll see what levels I'm looking at. All right, so going into today's trading, I'm really focusing on this 372 level. Right, so we can see respected it once here, fell below it and popped back up. So respected again the day before that, and now we're back under it and kind of popping back up. So 372 is the level I'm keeping an eye on here. I really want to see what's going to happen. Are we going to stay under this, or are we going to hold above out of the open and continue pushing the upside resistance? Okay, so we'll keep an eye on this thing. If we roll over, we could look to retest this 368.92, which is a little bit of a pre-market support here as well. Under that, 364.90, 362, and ideally next daily support comes in at around this 359 level. Okay, so if we do get some accelerated sell-off here, we could see that fall back into 359, which we'll have to pay attention to. All right, however, if we open up and we kind of maintain above this 372, or we see that they're kind of still continuously holding above this level, we could try to push 376, 378, and ideally this high from yesterday, right? These FOMC highs that we hit right here, this 382 area, that's the area that I'm going to be paying attention to the upside, right? So key level again is going to be that 372 going into today. So I'm going to pop back into the daily chart here. I'm going to put up the Qs, and we're going to kind of dissect the Qs here. Perfect. So the Qs, again, very similar look. We had this push up, this little nice consolidation. Once this consolidation broke to the downside, you know, we've talked about pockets before on this channel, and take a look at this massive pocket that we had, right? This pocket from here till at least this support area. So this right here, we started getting that accelerated sell-off, and we fell just like the SPY did, and it started finding some support here. All right, so again, same thing here. Let's dive into the 15-minute time frame and see what level it is that I'm paying attention to here. So on the Qs, I'm keeping an eye on this 276 level. Okay, just like we're keeping an eye on that 372 level, I'm keeping an eye on this 276 level on the Qs. Okay, if we open above this and hold, we could look to push the highs of at least yesterday, which were around 286, 285. And we'll see what it does over there. However, if we roll back over and see weakness and they start hammering this, then we have a pretty decent area to pull into. We have some support from the other day right here, sitting at around 273. But under that, there's really no support until 267, and below that 260. So, and I'll show you why that is. So let's go back to the Qs. Let me pull this up to clean. Let's go back to the max chart. All right, so just remember where we're kind of sitting at. Right now we're sitting at 277. Okay, so 277 is around right here. So if we go back to the left, when you guys are looking for support, you have to look to the left. So down to the left, and to the left, there's really no price action. We can't rely on this price action up here because all of this is above the area that we're trading at. We're trading at around this area right here. So we'll go to the left here and we'll take a look. So right here is the area we're paying attention to. Why? Because we're sitting at around this 277 area, 276 area. So from this 276.87, which is our support from, you know, the high of this candle right here, if we lose that, we are in a little bit of a pocket here. There's not much support until 267. We moved straight from here all the way up here, and then below that, if we're looking to the left, we have some support here at this 260, 261 area. Okay, so that's where those levels are coming from. We're dating back all the way to September 23rd, 2020, right? When you're looking for support and resistance lines, you have to go look to the left, whether you're looking at resistance or support. So that's where those levels are coming in. I'm going to dive back into the 15-minute time frame and kind of show you 267, 260, 261 is that area we mentioned, right? So these are the key levels I'm looking to the downside. And again, 276.40, 276.50 is going to be the level I'm focusing on. If we maintain above it out of the open, then we're looking for a push higher. And if we roll over, then we're looking for 273, 276 to come to the downside. All right. Sir, what's about portfolio IT stocks more than 20% down? Not sure what you mean. Almost all of the tech stocks are down 20%. All right, so I'm gonna jump into the free alerts so we can kind of go over that. For those of you guys that are tuning in on the free alerts, we'll talk about what they are, how you guys can take it. So first one on the list is F. F had an inside day yesterday, but most importantly, it's kind of putting in this little bit of a bear flag here in the pre-market. All right, so if we get under this 1180 area, then I'm looking to kind of get involved in some puts here. You can see this little support right here. If it gets under that, we should see a pullback down to at least, let me see, sorry. 1150, 1140 is the next area it has support to. All right, some people look at this and say, well, 1180 to 1150 might not be that big of a move. It's not going to pay me very well in options. Well, you're wrong, because you know, from 1180 to 1140, that's a 3.5% move, and on the options underlying, you'll actually get a pretty good chunk of move out of there. Okay, so under 1180, we're looking at to buy the 1150 puts and take advantage of that flush down to the downside. However, if we get back over 12, which is essentially this little bear flag to the upside, which will be the reversal, then I'm looking to push this towards the 1240, 1250 area, which will again pay pretty decently. If it does get going, that move right there is also at around 3.5%. Okay. Next one is ZM. ZM, I'm keeping an eye over that 109 level. Okay, so I penetrated above that already. Very similar look to what Ford has. You know, it's got this sideways consolidation kind of going on here. 109 trigger to the upside, has room to kind of push up and try to fill this gap back to yesterday's price at around 113. However, if this does get back under that 108 level, which is right here, pre-market support, we could see a flush down to 105, 103 on this name. Okay, so we'll have to wait for the open, 109 to the upside, 108 for puts to the downside. QCOM is another one that I was paying attention to here. QCOM is also coming into this area of support. You can see this 126.50, 126 area is a key area that was respected before, and now it's kind of trying to penetrate it to the downside. Okay, so under 126, I'm looking to get puts on this one. You can see it would bounce right here perfectly at the 126 level. We have some support there. Under that, I'm looking to take advantage of this down towards the 122, 120 area. And if this decides to pop back up over 128, then I'll look to take advantage of this to the upside. Okay, and to the upside, I mean that 130.50, 132. Now let's talk about how to kind of take these alerts and where you guys should kind of get involved. All right. So again, a lot of people asking this still to this day. How do you take these alerts? Again, in the first 5-10 minutes. Personally, I would take the trigger as it comes. If it breaks right there in the first 5-10 minutes, I'm taking this to the downside, and I want that volume to pay me in premiums really quickly. And I'll most likely be in and out of the trade very fast because these things can reverse on you. Okay. So if it's within the first 5-10 minutes and we come up right to trigger, I'm taking a trigger right there, and I'm taking advantage of this move up as the premiums inflate. Right now, let's say an hour or two has gone by, the stock has kind of consolidated up and down, and then we come and penetrate At this point, you have to wait for a retest, and you get in on the retest, and you take advantage of the move up. Why do we have to wait for the retest? Well, in the first hour of the market open, you have a lot of volume that comes in, right? You have a lot of volume bars that come in. After the hour or so, your volume bars are a lot less, and you don't have that momentum to kind of push it through. Ideally, you would want to wait for that retest to kind of present itself, all right? You can see almost every morning out of the gates, you have that flush, and then throughout the day, volume dies, end of the day, volume picks up again. It's the same story across the board. It happens every single day with every single stock, all right? So that is something to take into consideration. Now, since we've gone through the SPY levels, I'm going to jump into the chat. If you guys do have stocks that you want me to look at, let me know if you're looking to day trade them, swing trade them, calls or puts, and I'll answer any of the questions you guys may have. If you guys are still here, go ahead and smash that like button. Let me jump into the chat here. Simon's asking, is it time to start swing trading in this environment? Listen, you can swing trade. You can swing trade in this environment. You could have swung trade in the last environment, but the difference is your swing trades in this environment has to be bearish swing trades. You have to take, swing puts. You have to take swing short positions. So that way, you're kind of following the market. When we are all above all the moving averages, you want to look for swing calls. The reason why I don't like getting involved in many put swings is because once rallies come in, the rallies are really ruthless, man. And the bear rallies, the little swings up that we can get, it's just not a safe environment to kind of hold swings at this moment, because we're also getting a lot of gap activity. We're gapping up, we're gapping down, there's uncertainty, and when there's uncertainty, there's high volatility, and when there's high volatility, your options are kind of going all over the place, and your patterns aren't really panning out as they should. So we really, ideally, like I said before, we want the VIX to kind of come back down. Ideally, I would want to see the VIX back below at least 22, 21 for me to consider some swing trades, even to the downside. But at this rate, sitting high, the 30s, I'm not interested in swing trading at all. I'm not worried about swing trading. That's not my first priority right now. Saving capital and preserving capital is my number one goal at the moment. Next question, Martin. How do you draw your figure out levels? How do you draw or figure out the levels? My levels come all from daily charts. So I use daily levels, and over time they kind of accumulate and add up, and I have to go in and kind of clean them. But they all come from daily levels. So if we're looking at AMD, for example, you can see that here we have support, right? Why do we have support here? Well, because you've bounced once, you've bounced twice, and you're kind of coming into that area again here. What's stock sitting at right now? 87-ish, right? So this area, you can tell it's support, right? Right here, you can tell this isn't, a channel up that we're constantly rejecting, right? Right here, you have also like another channel that was respected to the downside that kind of broke out. Whoops. Right here. This channel kind of broke to the downside. So it all comes from the daily levels, and I use daily levels to come up with my key areas. I'm here just looking a little longer. Work kicked my ass last night. Tony, good morning. Brassy, good morning. Trade.x, sir, which moving averages is helpful for day trade? For day trading, I do like to use the 20, the 50, and the 200. I also use the VWAP. So when you get aggressive, strong moves out of the gates, oftentimes the 20 moving average on the 2-minute is going to be your good opportunities to kind of dip by. Now, if you get a pattern that forms on that 20 moving average, like a falling wedge, even better. Real Tesla short below 667, move to 637. Real, are you in the Discord? Just wondering. Yeah, 667 is good. It's got room to kind of fall towards that 636. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Waktapon, good morning. Mr. Bruno, can you explain how the gap changes the direction? Not sure what you mean by the gap changing directions. I mean, if we get into a gap, because there is no resistance overhead, it eliminates one side of the negotiation or one side of the party, right? So when you're in a situation where there's hollow space, there isn't enough resistance overhead. So, you know, when we have a clear area of resistance or people trying to sell, we penetrate those sellers, we get rid of those sellers, and we're now in a position where everyone's seeing this gap and buyers are coming in. There isn't going to be enough sellers in this little gap. That's why we get that shift in direction, and we essentially get back to the lows where there's new sellers waiting for us. I hope that kind of answers your question. PLTR put day trade. Let's take a look at PLTR here. 15-minute time frame. So PLTR is rejecting this 790, 780 level. Okay. On the daily here, let's take a look. It's also popping back up. Still seeing some rejection here. I think in order to get involved in these puts, also, although it's not the prettiest chart, I think you would have to lose 780, or at least, you know, if you want to be extra safe, 775, in order to get that flush down to 759, 750. And that's really what I would do. I wouldn't really try to kind of buy puts here yet because it's still kind of consolidating. Not a very clear pre-market chart. It does have a gap overhead, so if it does get back above 8, it might try to fill the gap to 820. But other than that, wait till 780, see what happens there. If that breaks, you could try to get that quick flush down to that 760, 750 area on the downside. Trade X, which moving averages is helpful for day trade? I think I mentioned that. Netflix day trade puts. Let's take a look at Netflix. Spelled it wrong. So Netflix day trade puts is not a bad idea. The only thing I would wait for is you have that flush down, you have that consolidation. You don't want to get involved on puts anything above this 176 level, because you do have the opportunity to kind of push 178, 180. Okay, you would have to wait for this 173.50 area to break. Then you kind of lose this support, and then you have the opportunity to flush down to take advantage of this intraday pocket, at least towards the 169 area. That's when I would look to kind of buy puts on Netflix. It would have to break 173.50, and then you can take advantage of the puts to the downside. General question: why we gap down overnight? Thought we will see continuation of the upside after JP call yesterday. It's really all about support and resistance, and which side of the party is feeling the pressure most. Okay. First of all, we are still in a downtrend, in a very, bearish market, in a sense that every time we pop up, we've been getting sold off into. What Jay Powell said yesterday, it brought in that kind of volume, it brought in some buyers yesterday, but again, like I said, that key level was that 381.50. We failed to maintain above that. We failed to close above that. Had we closed over the 381.50, then in your future session, you would have had new buyers kind of step up and push this higher. But because we closed under that 381.50, or we didn't even get close to that 381.50, you're gonna have more selling pressure as people. Essentially, what happened here, we popped up and we got sellers just dumping on us. So we're still not ready to get into that gap fill and hold above that. So because of that, we've hit resistance and we're kind of seeing rejection again here. That's really all that I can kind of think of. Whether what he said or didn't say can play a fact in it, but again, it comes down to your key areas, because once you're back into these areas of resistance and there isn't enough confidence in the market to kind of push it higher, you're going to see that selling pressure, and that selling pressure is confirmed. You have this area of old support, which is now resistance, and we failed 2 times to close above that. Had we closed above that, it would have been the first positive sign to kind of push above. But because we rejected twice, it's still saying this resistance is valid, and we've kind of rolled over here now to the downside a little bit. Did you move to Chicago? Thank you. Eric Evans, Netflix, my favorite. Simon, day trade MA put below 319.58. Let's take a look at MasterCard. Daily, you're mentioning, let's see, what did you mention? 319.58. Let's take a look at the 15-minute time frame. 319.58. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at this level here, 319.40, it would be a pretty good area to buy puts. I mean, I think the safer put level would be 318. So you clear that low on the daily here. You clear that, and then you have a nice little pocket to 312. That's what I would kind of pay attention to. I wouldn't really wait for 319.58. That's not really a pretty decent level there, because I can't get these numbers right. 319.58. You're still above that 319.40 support and 318 support. I would wait for 318 to break, then you have room till 312.76 to take advantage of. Sir, can you please check and give levels of Nifty for me? What is Nifty? What ticker is that? I don't even know what that is. Nifty? What the fuck is Nifty? Anyways, I don't know what that is. Nvidia and shop calls swing trade. Whew. Market and everything is under moving averages. If you're looking at swing trade calls here, you're only just hoping that 155 holds a support. Other than that, there's really nothing. Shopify, you're only hoping that 300 holds a support. It's just simply a support dip buy here. That's all it is. If that's your game plan, then great. You can have stops at 280 on Shopify. Try to push it back up to the 220 moving average. And on Nvidia, if you take those calls, you are at support. Your stops would have to be around 154, okay, or 150 if you want to be on the safer side. Other than that, there's really no patterns. Market's under all moving averages. There's really no bullish sign here to take calls on Shop or Nvidia. I'm questioning gaps at pre or post market. Do you count the gap as a support line and resistance zone for a higher low opening? I really don't pay attention to the gap, in a sense that, you know, if we do gap down, I look to see what happens after that gap down. Like, I don't really care what's happening up here because price action is all the way down, and I don't really care about this candle. What I care about is the clear support that we've put in right here, right? We've put in clear support right here. So that's what I'm interested in. That's a level of pre-market that you want to pay attention to. Other than that, anything that's happened up here is really irrelevant. First of all, there's no volume, so we can't pay attention to that. That's where the gap fill will come in. When you see that push to kind of try to fill that gap, that's that gap you want to kind of take advantage of. Bear market, 1,000 days or 100 or 100. October is good for me. I mean, that's just the history of what's been really going on. 1,000 days on average doesn't necessarily mean that's how long it could take. Maybe a lot shorter, maybe a lot longer this time around. No one really knows. Martin's LQD, not sure what you want to do with that. Let me know, calls or puts. Sir, Nifty is an Indian index. Got it. I don't think I have access to Indian index. Nifty is QQQ equivalent of Bombay Stock Exchange. Got it. I don't think TD gives me access to Nifty. INDF, maybe this is it. Oh, that doesn't work. Anyways, guys, it is 9 a.m. I gotta jump back into the Discord and get ready for the trading day today. If you guys are here still, go ahead and smash that like button. I will greatly appreciate it. Remember, every Thursday we do go live right here on YouTube. Come in with your questions, whether you want to swing trade, day trade. Let me know what tickers you're looking at. We'll go through all of them. And as always, I appreciate every single one of you guys tuning in. Remember, every Thursday,